Welcome back to Newsmax Prime. We've discussed the fact that Dr. Ben Carson is rising in the polls, and some surveys show, in fact, he is tied for front-runner status with Donald Trump. But many folks really don't know Dr. Carson, so that's why his #1 New York Times bestseller entitled One Nation is so important. In it, he reveals not only who he is, but what his plan would be should he become president. It's really a must-read about a candidate who could quite possibly get the Republican nomination. And Newsmax has a free offer for this book. Yep, absolutely free. All you need to do is pay shipping and handling. Simply go to the website on the screen or call the 800 number today to get your free copy. You know, we began our time together tonight talking about the Iran nuclear agreement and the fact that John Kerry is claiming that the administration now has enough Democrat votes to see this deal through. Well, earlier this week, Miranda and I spoke with Scott Wheeler, the executive director of the National Republican Trust, and we asked him if there is anything American citizens can do to stop this deal.
Well, first of all, if you're represented by a Democratic senator, you should call them and call their office and let them know how strongly you feel about this. Secondly, we're going to be targeting some of these guys with radio ads in Oregon right now. We're in Connecticut and a couple of other states, and nationally also with radio ads that really hit the issue hard and explain that if you vote for this deal, you're going to share responsibility for Iran's next deadly attack, and we assume it won't be long after they get the $150 billion in frozen assets released to them. So I think the best thing to do is put pressure on them. Some of these who have already committed to vote for the deal, they can be turned, they can be flipped back if enough pressure is brought to bear, and they'll use the auspices of some new revelation that they come up with and say, oh, we didn't know that before, but now we're against it. This can be stopped. It really can.
Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, states within the U.S. have the power to come to their own decisions regarding sanctions on Iran because Obama's deal does not affect the state's ability to impose sanctions on Iran. Would it do any good, in your opinion, if states implemented their own sanctions?
Oh, absolutely it would. And here's why. Because the best thing we can do is delegitimize this basically a unilateral deal Obama has made with 6 countries and Iran. It needs to be delegitimized. It needs to be, we need to force them to use as much corrupt and outlandish and illegal legislative maneuvers to get past it. We need Obama to act unilaterally in releasing the sanctions so that it is clear who is responsible for this and that there is not a groundswell of support for it. Quite the opposite. Right now, polls are running 60 to 65% against it. That means this deal is even less popular than Obamacare.
Bottom line, if they feel the heat, they'll see the light. Now it's time to take a look at the way you see it via social media. Our first comment comes from someone calling themselves Modzilla, emailing in about our left-leaning friend Ellis Hennigan. Here's what he has to say. I think one of these days Hennigan will become a conservative. We just need to work on him and get him out of New York. Our next comment comes from Charles, who wrote in about my interview Monday with financial commentator Jim Rogers, who gave an interesting assessment of our economy. He writes, I think what was said Monday about the spending in Washington is true. A chainsaw needs to be taken to our national spending. Our economy's going downhill. There is a way to fix it. The way is to lower taxes and raise interest rates. We also need to get better control of welfare, food stamps, and government programs. Even if spending was cut just a little, that would be an improvement. Yeah, but we got to cut more. Finally, it's Dana who writes in about Fox News, Donald Trump, and Newsmax. She writes, I have banned Fox News from this house after the relentless Trump trashing, which was also trashing my family. Keep it real, and our news will stay Newsmax. Dana, we're keeping it real. Now we want to reach out to you in a real attempt to get your comments. Send them to me at newsmaxtv.com/comments. My final comment is always, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.